In this lesson, we're going to continue to discuss styles. If you'd like to follow along, go under your File menu to Open, and in the Working Files folder, go into Chapter number 8 and select Format Objects with Object Styles and just click Open. Let's take a look at object styles. It's a way of formatting attributes to an object quickly and with total consistency. It's kind of like graphic styles in Illustrator, but it's also like paragraph styles for formatting objects instead of type. Let me show you how it works. I'm just going to select an object and I'm going to format it. I'm going to change the way it looks. So if I wanted the stroke around this object to be thicker, I can go to my stroke panel and in the weight field, go to the pop-up and choose 10 points. So I have a thick black stroke around my photo. But I actually want the stroke to be white. So with the object still selected, I'm going to go to my control panel, to the Stroke Swatches pop-up panel, and choose Paper, which is white in InDesign. And I'm going to click off of it to close it. And one more thing. Maybe I want to apply a drop shadow. If I find my FX pop-up menu in the control panel, the button immediately to the left of that is drop shadow. And you can see it added a drop shadow. Let me get my stroke panel out of the way. Now, let's make this into a style. To do that, we have to open the Object Styles panel, which is under the Window menu, Styles, Object Styles. And how do I make this into a style? Pretty much the same way that I would create a paragraph style. I have my object formatted, and I'm going to go under the Options menu of the Object Styles panel and select the very first listing. New style listings are always first in the Options menu. In the window that opens, all I need to do is name the style. I'm going to call it Photos. I want to make sure that Apply Style to Selection is checked. So let me recheck that. And also, Preview is checked. That's because it's a way of quickly knowing that I added the style to the Object Styles panel, and also it's highlighted, which means it has been applied to the selected object. Now, all I have to do is click OK. And applying it to other objects, just think paragraph styles. If I click on an object and then click on the style, it's going to pick up that formatting, that look for an object. And I'm going to click on the next object and click on my Photos style again. Why don't we scroll down to the next page where there are more objects to be formatted. Now I could continue selecting my objects and clicking on the Photos style. And it works really well. But there is another way to apply styles that only works with object styles. With the style selected, if I click on it and drag it to some object that isn't selected and let go, the style gets applied. If I click on the style again and drag it to some other object that is not selected, it's going to apply the style. So you can see this is even faster. You want to drag towards the edge of the object and not get close to any other objects that might be in front of it, or else it doesn't work. Let me click on the style again and drag it to the edge of this object. And one last object. Let me click on the style and drag it towards the bottom of this one last object. So I applied my style to all of the objects that I wanted to, and now I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, I don't like the way that drop shadow looks. How would I change it in all of these objects that I have applied the style to? Once again, think paragraph styles. How would you change the look of a paragraph style? Well, you can select one object and change its look. Now, I didn't like the drop shadow, so what I'm going to do is go to the FX pop-up in the control panel. That's where you'll find all of your effects. And I'm going to choose drop shadow to get into the effects dialog window. And to make it lighter, I'm going to make it less opaque. So I'm going to click to get to a scrubby slider and go down to, how about 50%? And you can see it did make the shadow lighter, but also the offset is possibly too great. So let me click the down arrow in the position section next to distance. So it's making the shadow a little bit more under the photo. And I also want to increase the size of the shadow. So it's going to be more diffused. I'm going to click the up arrow a couple of times, and then I'm just going to click OK. So I've changed the look of that one object. And you can see Photos actually has a plus mark next to it. And it's telling me if I want to get rid of those overrides that I just added, I can hold down my Option or Alt key and click on the listing with the object selected. But that's not what I want to do. I want to change all of the other objects that have the style applied. Well, how would I do that with paragraph styles? Well, I know I would go under my Options menu and go to the fourth listing, Redefine Style. And when I do that, it redefines the style and updates all of the objects that have the style applied. So I changed everything, including what was on my first page, just by changing one of the objects and redefining the style. Let's look under the Options menu of the panel. I'm going to click on the Options menu, and you're going to see some of the same kinds of things that you would find in paragraph or character styles, including break link to style. So if I had one object selected that I didn't want that to be linked to the style anymore, maybe I'm going to change the style and I don't want that one object to change, I can break the link to the style. I can also load object styles. If I select that, all I have to do is find the particular file that has the object styles that I want to use and just click Open. I'm going to click Cancel. One other thing, what if I'm not happy with the order of the styles? I mean, I can just click on the styles and move them up or down, but I only have one style here. All the rest of them are the defaults, so it's not letting me move it up. The defaults always come first. But let me go under my Options menu, and I can choose Sort by Name if I have a lot of styles and I want them to be alphabetized to make them easy to find. We're going to continue discussing styles in the next lesson.